This is Justin.
And this is Haley, and you're listening to The Price of Avocado Toast.
We're a married millennial couple wanting to normalize conversations about money. We want to hear about your highs and your lows,
The do's and the don'ts on your path towards financial freedom. Hi Toasties, welcome to The Price of Avocado Toast.
Whether you're a first-time listener or you've been following us from the start of this thing, we're so glad to have this conversation with you today. All right, Toasties, if you've been following us on Instagram, you know that we have had a doozy of like 2 weeks now.
It has been quite the doozy.
It's been a lot.
We have usually really good luck. Life usually goes in our favor 99.9% of the time. And this week is like really a funk.
Yeah.
It royally sucks. It's raining. When it rains, it pours. It's pouring rain.
Yeah, for sure. Luckily, we're still in good spirits.
We are.
As best possible.
Yeah.
But we're definitely going through it right now, you guys. So this episode is going to be short and hopefully sweet. But we kind of just want to let y'all know what's going on in our world and kind of talk about some of the financial aspects behind it to at least tie it into the overall topic of this podcast. But yeah, we're going through it right now. So if you can tell, or I should say you might be able to tell listening to this, that Haley sounds stuffed up, and that is because she is stuffed up. She unfortunately tested COVID positive Saturday, and we got her results back Monday afternoon. So she's on quarantine right now. I am too, obviously, because I'm a close contact in home. But it was actually surprising because I am vaccinated and I'm asymptomatic right now. I don't have to quarantine.
Yeah, can you explain that to people? Because I feel like before I knew that, I knew people had close contact and I was irritated that they were just walking around in the world. So
Yeah.
Can you explain what that even is?
Yeah, for sure. If you're vaccinated and asymptomatic, the CDC has said that you are essentially okay to walk around, masked up appropriately, taking those protocols in public, but that you don't really need to quarantine until you feel the onset of symptoms. And I'm still asymptomatic. I haven't had any symptoms. I tested negative on the same day that you tested positive. I went and got another test today. I have another test on Friday. I'm obviously, going to try and stay on top of it. But it's kind of interesting that I can go out and about. However, my job is taking this pretty seriously, and they've asked me to stay home at least for this week until we can get a couple more negatives, and you can get a little bit later in the throes of it. And I hate to put this on you, as much as I'm worried and bummed that you have COVID. You are vaccinated.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm really, really not worried about myself at all.
Yeah.
I have zero worries about that. I feel very confident in my body. My body's natural health. Plus, I am fully vaccinated.
Yeah.
And
Which is
so
encouraging.
I just feel like I know I will be okay. But it's really scary for our children.
That's who I'm worried more so about, the babies. So we had one baby that tested presumptive positive because they couldn't get a good enough result. I don't see any way that both girls don't for sure have it. One of them did test negative, but I think it's only a matter of time until she gets it as well, which is scary. That's significantly more scary to me because they can't get vaccinated and we can't, get masks to stay on them.
Yeah, they're not even 2 years old.
Yeah.
So it is scary. I think it's important that we share what we're going through so you can hear kind of what it's like. I've been sharing on Instagram, but if by sharing our story gets one more person to reconsider not getting vaccinated, to actually go schedule to get vaccinated, that makes it worth it.
Yeah.
And ultimately the choice is yours, but I hope that you are able to look outside of your own little bubble and not just what impacts you directly, but other people.
Yeah.
I have 3 friends that just had babies within the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking of them and they're first time moms.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a little too late for us. Our family all got it. But if you can't do it for yourself, do it for those people.
Yeah. And if you're unsure about risks or benefits, and you truly feel as though you're unsure, reach out and we can have a conversation. Now, if you're going to reach out and spread your, YouTube conspiracy theory, I'm going to politely ask you to not. um, because there's this weird phenomenon going around, and I saw this wonderful tweet the other day that mentioned, people are like, well, I've done my research. And you ask them, well, what's your research been? And they're like, well, I saw this really great documentary on YouTube, or I read, some blog post. And it's like, in what world did you ever think that that was valid research? That is not valid research. Research is, you know, peer reviewed articles. It is putting together samples and running long-term data projections on this stuff, vetting your own resources to see, where there's maybe financial backing. Like there's so much that goes into actual research for the scientists working on this or for any researcher, right? Ask any high-level university professor about the research that they've had to do to become a published writer. Like it's extensive. It's not like, well, yeah, I saw some stuff on YouTube and I have an AA in this, so I think I passed. Like, no, the work they had to do, even just checking their own bias to see if their own resources were invalid. There's so much work that goes into it. So don't come into the DMs saying that you've done research and have it be some some weird kind of fake news stuff. Like it's just that is just so weird to me. But if you're truly hesitant or you're truly unsure or worried or scared, which is okay to be scared, let's have a conversation. Maybe we can help you feel a little bit more positive about the decision.
I mean, I was scared. I didn't want to get my vaccine until after I had the baby
Mm-hmm.
because of any unknown. And any pregnant mom would feel that, like, if you don't know what's going to happen, of course you would rather just wait. But I ended up changing my mind. Now, that's not for everyone. I know some pregnant moms that didn't change their mind and they waited until after they had their baby.
Mm-hmm.
Or people who still are like, you know what, I'm just not comfortable. I'm not comfortable yet. But I just strongly, strongly encourage you to stay open-minded. Like, this is turning into a political argument, and it's not a political thing. This is a public health thing, and that is what's frustrating me so much. This is not about who's right and who's wrong, and the conservatives and the Republican, or those are the same thing, whatever, about whatever side you're on politically. It's just about all of us being able to hopefully do some part in ending this pandemic so we can all go back to what we want normal to look like, because it's starting to be normal, this world we live in. We've been here for a year and a half, and I don't think any of us want to continue this as our normal.
No, not at all. Not at all. So we're obviously battling COVID, and we're lucky in that the school system right now is still on COVID pay, so I won't lose any money there. So financially, we're doing okay. But on the same day that we tested the family for COVID, that evening, wonderful Walter was in the backyard and got bit by a rattlesnake. And immediately came inside, bleeding from his face. It was swelling up, tender to the touch. He wouldn't let you touch him. And we had to take him down to the emergency vet about 40 minutes away. And I was with him until about 1:30 at the hospital. And he stayed overnight. And that bill was a big one. That was, originally it was $2,020, which is like so poetic that it was 2020. I mean, it's just like, there's some type of beautiful tragedy among all that. But when we picked him up the next day, they were like, hey, we actually overquoted you because the medicine's not going to be quite as much, so they refunded us $55. So it was actually, $19.65, which is a hefty sum for a dog, $1,965.
Yeah, that was not fun. I called my mom right after you went to take him.
Yeah.
And that was one of my worst days physically with symptoms. Friday and Saturday were horrible. And I call my mom and I'm just like sobbing. I'm like, I just want my babies to be okay and my dog. I want my dog to be okay.
Yeah.
And I knew that 80% of dogs survive rattlesnake bites, but it's still scary.
Very.
Just like being in this situation with my children having COVID is still scary.
Yeah.
Even though I can look at the stats and be like, oh, rationally, like my rational mind should say like we're all going to be okay. It's still scary. And it still made me like, holy shit, I don't know what I'm going to do. How are we going to pay for this? Blah. But then I had to, rational mind. We have money. Everything's going to be okay. You left and you were like, hey, we're going to have a serious conversation about how much money we're really willing to fork out for this dog if it ends up being some ridiculous bill. And that is not a fun thing to think about,
No.
especially with your animals. Those are like your other family members.
Yeah, but it's so interesting because I said that, and I think my kind of like almost like a fight or flight response to all of it kicked in with like how I view money still. Like, this is a lot of money. But then I like remembered to myself, wait, we have an emergency fund for this.
Mm-hmm.
We had $1,000 put away for our dog's vet emergencies, and we have a $20,000 emergency fund for when bad things happen to our family
Yeah.
that we can spend, right? So we were able to pull the whole vet visit money and then use a little bit out of our emergency fund. And then when we did our budget this morning, because it's August 31st and we planned our September budget, we were talking about, okay, how can we replenish both of those in an appropriate time frame? But when the incident first happened, that was all I could think of was like, this is going to cost a lot of money. And it's just interesting that my mind kind of went that direction.
Yeah, because we have the money for a reason, but also no one wants to spend $2,000 at the vet. Even
Of
if you
course.
have the money, you don't want to do
Of
that.
course.
So I think that also had something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that we had the money, but I was still pissed off about it.
Yeah.
Like, I want my dog to be okay. I don't want to have to spend this money. I wish it didn't happen, but I'm so thankful because 2 years ago that would have put us so much deeper into debt.
Yeah. That would have gone on a credit card.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had that money. It would have had to go on a credit card, and
Yeah.
we would have been paying for it a year later.
Yeah, absolutely.
You actually forgot before all of that. Earlier in the week, my car was having issues, so we had to take the car in,
Yes.
and I thought it was just like a little oil leak. But I guess it was a little oil leak or something, but they had to like remove the entire transmission to like get to the oil leak.
Yeah.
I don't even understand. That was a $1,400 bill.
Mm-hmm.
Again, another sinking fund we have is car maintenance. We have $2,000 set aside for that. But that really made me mad.
Yeah.
I don't want to spend $1,400 on my car.
Yeah.
But that's the trade-off of having a used car. I know that. But we don't have a car payment. So, I mean, you give and take. We're not paying $600 a month for a car payment.
Mm-hmm.
But when things happen, they do cost more because the car is like 14 years old.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was not fun. But this whole week reminded me, we have these sinking funds for a reason. We have this emergency fund for a reason. When things come up, you're not going to be happy about spending that money.
No.
But when you can kind of slow down and consider what would the alternative be? If you didn't have this money, how would you pay for this?
Yeah.
I mean, would you be out a car because you couldn't fix your car? Would you have to go finance it? Would you have to put it on a credit card or borrow something or put your dog down because you don't have money? Like, there's so many things I kept thinking of all week long with the alternative. It sucks to have to spend that much money in a week, but I'm so glad we have the money. We're really lucky to be in that position.
Yeah.
We had the money to cover it. So if you get anything from this episode, not just go get a vaccine, but please make sure you have sinking funds. And if you have no idea what a sinking fund is, it's an item, a budget line item that you put in your budget, and essentially you put money in it monthly to reach a goal. So you can look at it like a whole entire year. For example, holidays. Like, for holidays, you can guess, okay, I'm going to spend $2,000 the whole entire calendar year, and that can be your goal, and then you divide it by 12, and you put that amount of money in monthly to the sinking fund so you can reach that amount. Because, like you said, Christmas comes December 25th every year, and then it's not a surprise. Same thing with unfortunate events, like car maintenance and vet bills and medical bills. You can take an estimate of, okay, well, I think I spend X amount of dollars in the whole entire calendar year, and then divide it up and figure out how much money you need to put in.
Or you can just have it sitting in the bank, ready for when you need it.
Yeah.
And then you use it when you need it, and then you budget out how long it might take you to replenish that. And sinking funds like that really help. I mean, you have to do some work front loading it, but you can get there. And one of the interesting things or I should say one of the caveats to it is obviously we sold our home. So we were able to beef up some of our sinking funds. But before that, we actually did a decent job getting some money in the bank to have kind of a pseudo emergency sinking fund. It wasn't fully funded 20,000 and all of the other buckets loaded, but it wasn't just the $1,000 emergency fund. Through most of the quarantine, we carried about $4,000 to $5,000 of an emergency fund, which is really strong, I
Yeah.
think. And the way that we got there was super unorthodox, but I think other people could do this. You know me, I'm a big seller. Look around your house. If you're listening to this right now and you want to get your emergency fund rocking and rolling, look around your house and sell literally everything that has a value to somebody else and not a value to you. I've sold a juicer. I've sold wall decor. I've sold a back massager. I have sold shaker tins from like protein workout
Oh
drinks.
yeah, yeah.
I've
The blender
sold the
bottles.
blender bottles, thank you. I've sold other sports equipment. I've sold
You've sold literally everything.
everything I could. Everything I
And you'd be
could.
surprised the crap, literally crap, people will buy.
Yes, you think it's crap, somebody wants it.
Yeah.
I
Even for like $5.
I took the original podcast equipment, the podcast equipment that we recorded the first few episodes on for my brother. He sold it to us for $100. When we got this new set, I flipped it for $150 and sold it. And he's pissed about it. I don't care. I needed it out of my house. I sold it and made a profit. I sold a hiking backpack from my sister. I don't care. It was a hand-me-down from her. She didn't want it anymore. I didn't want it in my garage. I'm selling it. I don't care. We can have a conversation about your feelings being hurt later. I need this out of my garage. I need to beef up my emergency fund. So if you're somebody who's just unsure of how to get there, sell. Get on Facebook Marketplace, start selling things. $5, $10, $20, that all adds up to get some serious momentum.
My clients this month, in the month of August, sold $30,180 worth of things.
I love that.
And I only have 12 clients.
Love that.
I mean, one of them was a car. That was a large chunk of it. But people sold so much random crap in their house that people bought. Ranging from like $5, $10 to $200 for like an Apple Watch or something.
Awesome.
You know? Things are just things, and you can really beef up your emergency fund or those sinking funds that way. And for Christmas, you got me the coolest gift, and I'm sorry we're not using this anymore. I still really love it. But you got me a, what do you want to call it? A little binder thing
like an
with,
envelope system almost.
yeah, for cash envelopes for sinking funds.
Mhm.
And so if you don't have a high yield savings account if you're not ready to go that far and you just need to stash some money, that's a great way to do it. To figure out how much money you need and then just start taking it out in cash and put them in the little envelopes.
Yeah.
And then have them stash.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, we had like thousands of dollars stashed in the closet with cash. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but it worked for us.
Yeah. It was great. And I mean, it wasn't like thousands tons. It was maybe like $1,500 in cash between it all.
That's a lot of
It was
money.
a decent little amount of money. Yeah, but it worked for us for the time being until we got, more money into the bank and needed to do it in an online system. So yeah, I'm super grateful that we're in this position to where these are just speed bumps. The car and the dog are just speed bumps, and I have a job that is supporting COVID pay and allows me or asks me to be home to take care of my family and to keep the community safe. I'm really thankful and grateful that we're in this position, and part of that is because financially we can breathe through this and not feel like we're super constricted.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely given us a whole new, it's like peace.
Yeah.
Just knowing that it's going to be okay. We have the funds to cover it.
Yeah.
And if you're not in that position right now, you can get in that position if you work on your finances and if you create sinking funds and you intentionally save money. You can totally be in a position where in 1 week we spent so much money, over $3,000 on just random things that were not planned and they needed to happen. We need a vehicle that needed to be fixed. I'm not going to let my dog die because of a rattlesnake. It is what it is.
Yeah.
And I was not happy to spend the money, but I was happier that I had the money than going into debt.
Absolutely. You guys, we wanted to make this episode short and sweet. We don't want to kind of gloss over all the stuff that's going on in our world, but realistically, we also can't dedicate a ton of time to the podcast right now
Yeah.
as our family is trying to get through this. Just a reminder, please, please, please wear a mask, regardless of how you feel about your vaccination, ideology. Please wear a mask because our babies can't get vaccinated, and you wearing a mask helps protect them. And it is stressful thinking, is my kid's fever going to spike? Are they having problems because of COVID? I'm like putting Calliope down. I'm like, how is she breathing right now? It's just stressful. So please, please, please wear a mask. And the second part of this, I will say, because I think you're probably too humble to talk about it right now during COVID and with other stuff on your mind. But if you're somebody who's interested in talking more about the emergency fund stuff, sinking fund stuff, please reach out on Instagram. Haley is literally home as a financial coach and can talk to you about maybe some ways that y'all can work together to get your journey started, for lack of a better word.
Someone sent me a message last week, and they were like, hey, you probably aren't going to respond. I just wanted to ask you some questions, and I was so happy. Like, I love talking to people about their money or just chatting about life. It's what I do all day long. So, seriously, reach out. No strings attached. I'd like to chat and, become your friend because, like, real talk, some Instagram friends are better friends than real life friends. Let's just say it, and I'm not even ashamed to say it.
Yes.
Online friends rock. I appreciate all of you.
Yeah, I had somebody yesterday on Twitter DM me and say, hey, I need to know what food service you like to get from a food delivery app, and then I need you to not ask me any more questions. And I said, you're so kind, dude. Like, we don't have that around here.
There's nothing
Yeah, I was like,
here.
we don't have that. So, like, instead, just buy some books for your kid's classroom and, like, make sure that they're diverse books. That was literally it.
Well, that's a nice human.
Yeah, they're pretty cool. But yeah,
I do want to add, I know I've been in a slight negative headspace being annoyed by trolls on the gram. However, like, the amount of trolls compared to the amount of support is ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
I have had so much support and love pouring in from so many people from across the whole entire world. So thank you. That does not go unnoticed. I appreciate that. My family appreciates that. Sending your prayers and your vibes and all of that for my babies, it means so much. So thank you. The trolls are only a small amount of people. And you know what? They can choke on sand.
They can choke on sand. I love that. Yeah, thank you guys for all of your support. That's going to do it for this episode, this COVID edition of The Price of Avocado Toast. As always, we're so thankful to have had this conversation with you, and we so appreciate all of your well wishes. Happy budgeting.
You've got this, Toasties.
Thanks for listening to The Price of Avocado Toast. If you vibed with this episode, share it with a friend that you're comfortable having money talks with. And if you don't mind, we'd love if you could rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts.
If you're in need of my support as a financial coach, message me on Instagram. I'd love to help in any way that I can. Until next time.